On today's ChurchTechCast Q&A show, one question about video and a whole lot about ProPresenter 5. Hi, and welcome again to the ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show. This is the show where every week I try and answer your church tech questions. Occasionally some stump me, and then I throw it out to some of my other friends, and we'll see if we can't get them answered for you one way or the other. My name is Paul Allen Clifford, and I'm your host. I'd love for you to ask your questions, by the way. So either drop me a line, paul@trinitydigitalmedia.com, hit me up on Twitter, Paul Allen Cliff, or just go ahead and leave a comment below the video. By the way, Paul Allen Cliff, P-A-U-L-A-L-A-N-C-L-I-F. So let's get started with the questions. First, I'm a member of Platform University, and Rocky Buckley over there asked this question. I'm seriously thinking about doing a video series of 1 to 3 minute long Q&A type videos for YouTube. I don't know anyone else who does that. I want these to be very easy to make, preferably one take, but still look good. I don't know anyone else who does that. Lighting should be good, the sound the same. Probably just shoot from an iPhone. Suggestions for setup? I'd also like to template out the beginning and end of the video. A quick stylish intro with music, same with the exit. Also drop a bug in the lower right hand corner. Suggestions for getting that done on the cheap? Fiverr? Well, to start with the end, well, that's what I've used. Some things I can do myself, but quite frankly, if it's cheap enough, it just saves me a lot of time, and I've got so many things I want to accomplish that it's sometimes worth doing. So Fiverr is a good choice. You're not going to get the best quality, perfect everything, but you might get something that you find quite usable. So you can absolutely shoot a video on an iPhone. What I would suggest is there is an iPhone XLR cable. So on one end, it's got the tip ring sleeve, the regular, it looks like an iPhone headset plug, and on the other end it has an XLR jack like a microphone would plug into. That's what I would use for sound. Then I would plug that, depending on the setup, I think I would either use a lavalier mic like I'm using, or you could use a shotgun mic if you're a little farther away. But I would not use the iPhone onboard camera. I would use the camera, I wouldn't use the onboard microphone. Onboard microphones tend to be bad unless you're really close. And even as close as I am to this camera, which is about 3 feet, the sound, the last time I inadvertently didn't plug my microphone in, I just reshot the video because, quite frankly, it just wasn't good. So that's what I would suggest that you should consider. For lighting, you could do something cheap like I am. I've got a LED bulb right here. You can see as my hand gets closer, it gets brighter if you're watching the video. If you're not, to my right, your left, there's an LED bulb in just a regular fixture. I've got a softbox to my left, your right. Some of the recent videos I haven't put that up because I moved my office slightly, but I think it really is necessary. And you'll see there's a glow on my hair. That's my hair light or kicker or backlight, depending on who you talk to. And that is, let me lean over. Yeah, you can't actually see it. I've got a small spotlight and also one of those salad bowl clamp lights. So you can do it on the cheap. if you have good control of your environment. But all three of those lights are really close to me, so I would not recommend that you go with halogen lights because they'll get really, really hot unless you're in a really cool room. Then you might welcome the heat. But they also use a lot of electricity, whereas for the most part, I'm talking LEDs and compact fluorescence. That's what I use. So I think that's basically what I would do if I were you. And don't be too hard on yourself. If you were speaking in public and you made a slip up, you'd just keep going. You wouldn't say, oh, sorry, we got to start over. You just wouldn't do that. So don't be too hard on yourself. Christian Johny on YouTube asks, Dear Mr. Paul, how you add camcorder to Mac and using it in ProPresenter since my ProPresenter doesn't detect my external camera, only isight built-in camera, ? Okay, it depends on the camcorder. I have not had a lot of good success hooking a camcorder into a Mac and getting that up in ProPresenter. I have had some success with little webcams like this guy, which, yeah, here, this is the one I used to use. It's not going to be in focus because the cable just won't go back far enough. But that's a Logitech C615, I want to say. The C920 is actually a little bit better option. So, but the camera, putting that into the ProPresenter, I just haven't had a lot of good luck with that. So you're going to get a lot of latency. Go back and watch the video that you commented on, because I talked about why ProPresenter isn't really great as a video switcher. There's latency issues, and quite frankly, it's just not designed for it. It's much better to have a video switcher and take the video from ProPresenter and put that into the switcher than take video from a camera and put it into ProPresenter. Understand? So just keep that in mind. Bree Ogles asks, Hi Paul team, and by team I'm assuming she means me. I am a team of one. At my church we use ProPresenter 5, and we just recently purchased a USB to VGA adapter to start running a stage display. I've run into some issues trying to get my computer and ProPresenter to recognize the adapter. The USB adapter that we are using is a StarTech display link. The product is USB to VGA Pro 2. It's what my church uses, by the way. Initially, my computer wasn't recognizing the adapter at all, but after downloading a driver from the StarTech website, now recognizes both the mini DVI for the projector as well as the StarTech USB adapter. But there is something wrong with the screens. When I have the two adapters plugged in, the projector screen and my computer screen seem to be working as one large screen, while there is still no signal being sent to the stage display TV. On top of that issue, the windows on my computer, like ProPresenter for example, seem to be showing up on a screen somewhere that cannot be seen. Any chance you can help with this? Thanks so much for your time and tutorials. Actually, Bree, I love helping with this kind of stuff. And I think that's part of why God made me. So, I think you've got a couple of issues. First off, when you install a USB display device, a lot of times ProPresenter just doesn't automatically know that that's what should be the stage display. So you need to go into the preferences in the display section in ProPresenter and drag the box that says SD onto one of the other boxes there. You'll see what I mean. In talking to you, it sounded to me like what's going on is that the computer just doesn't know what to put where. So the first thing that we did was we disabled the output, which is Command 1 disables the output screen, and that's a toggle, so you can command 1 to turn it back on, and then go into the preferences and move things around. It might also be that you have the two screens mirroring onto each other. If that's the case, you need to turn off mirroring, and that's done in the Mac system preferences, again under displays. So those are the things that I would look for if I were you. It sounds like it should work. You just have some tweaking to do. Brenda Brummel via email asks, first, thank you for your tutorials. I am the white-haired techie at our church and have not found anyone else willing to be involved with ProPresenter. Actually, I would be a white-haired techie if it wasn't for this thing called hair dye. I went prematurely gray, you see, I'm just now 41. One issue that I seem to encounter frequently is having a background show up on slides which I don't want the background. For example, we start with a loop of announcements, and I've created a background picture for that intro slide and the calendar slides. Then the same looping series goes on to photos from the last week and other info. Sometimes the background picture will show up on later slides, and sometimes, much to my horror, it will show up on a hymn later on in the playlist, where the white letters of the hymn really don't show up on the light background picture. I have found that wonderful little button in the upper left-hand corner that will turn the background off, but I don't see why it shows up in the first place. Unfortunately, I have a time conflict with listening to you live, so I'm hoping that you can answer this email. Thanks again. Yeah, I love answering these emails, by the way, so anyone else who has a question, send them on in. So the first thing is backgrounds are persistent from one element to another in ProPresenter 5 unless they are replaced by another background, or you use either the Clear All Media slide button, or you use the Clear Action key, which you can drag and drop onto a slide. It sounds to me like for hymns, you want a black background and white letters. So I think I would make sure that you have the Clear Action cue set for clearing the background on the first slide of the hymn, and then you should be good as long as you do go and click on that or tap the space bar to go to that. That's what I would expect. It could be that we've got something else going on in interactions with you, Brenda. It sounds like that it could be the case that the how do I want to say this? Could be the case that you're reusing an old presentation and who knows what happened way back when. So I'd advise you to start from scratch in creating the loop, for example, and see if maybe we've got something that's arrived in there that shouldn't have, or it was added in an unusual way that ProPresenter doesn't expect, things like that. So that's what I would do, and you can always export the presentation and send it to me and I'll take a look at it. Zach Delano on Google Plus says, hey Paul, quick ProPresenter question. I'm not super familiar with it, but I was curious if it's possible to use a slide advancing device or mouse to progress through slides in ProPresenter. I've used ProPresenter for myself before, but just got it at our church. Our pastor would like to control his sermon slides like PowerPoint or Keynote, but I want to use ProPresenter so we aren't switching between applications for a service. So you could use the ProPresenter remote app for iPhone. That's probably the best way to do it because you just need to have Wi-Fi connection. Depending on how far away you are between the presentation computer and the pastor, there are USB presentation remotes that should work fine. Just make sure that it's not a mouse click that it sends, but it's an arrow click or a spacebar click. That's what ProPresenter expects. So I used a presentation remote one of the last times that I did some public speaking, and it seemed to work perfectly fine. I think actually you can even use these little Apple remotes. I think they will do it as well. So you could try that if you have one of those laying around. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I hope that that helps. Let me know. Well, I hope that helps you, and I hope that one of those questions was actually one that you meant to send in and you just hadn't gotten around to it. But if it's not, make sure you send it in. By the way, if you like this content, please subscribe to the newsletter. The best way to do that is just go to trinitydigitalmedia.com/gifts, because I've got 3 church tech gifts for you. You can either choose a course on how to do video, some stuff about ProPresenter, if one of those ProPresenter questions was your question. It's kind of 5 tricks that not a lot of churches are using. Or my book on Twitter, and this is, oh, there it is, hidden underneath a bag from Radio Shack. This book in electronic format, because postage is expensive, you can get it as well. Just head on over there, give me a good email address that I can send it to you, and I'll also send you a free subscription to my email newsletter. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with trinitydigitalmedia.com. Hi, and welcome again to another episode of the ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show. This is the show where every week I try and answer your Church Tech Cast. Hi, and welcome again to the take 3